Welcome to Friday's edition of Big Blue Kickoff Live, presented by Cadillac, the official luxury vehicle of the New York Football Giants. So glad you could join us. I'm Paul Dottino. He is Super Bowl champion Howard Cross, and we are so glad that you could be with us today on what is a very, very hot and steamy day in East Rutherford, New Jersey, but it's cold and cool and air-conditioned in the studio, and I'm so glad because I was afraid Howard might pass out.
I was going to pass out. I already did a little wardrobe change. You know, I couldn't come in here with the shirt I had on earlier or the hat, so I had a little wardrobe change.
What would Nick Saban say about this?
Man, I didn't play for Nick.
I know, but he's a Bama guy who you look up to.
Nick would have, back in the day, Coach Perkins.
Yes, you had Coach Perkins.
Coach
That
Perkins.
is correct.
Coach Perkins just walk us across like 3 or 4 really nice grass fields to the turf to practice in this weather. So, God rest your soul, Coach. But I used to think to myself, he's crazy. But every team in the SEC back then had turf fields.
That is true.
So.
Folks, if you'd like to join us, it's 201-939-4513. 201-939-4513. Hashtag Giants Chat on Twitter. And as always, you can get an archive of this show if you don't join us live and the entire Giants podcast network on the Giants mobile app, podcast platforms everywhere, and at giants.com/podcasts. All right, Howard.
Okay.
Here's what we know. Yesterday, the on-field temperature was 108 degrees. That had been the 2024 summer camp season record for Giants camp.
Okay.
We believe today it was hotter than that. We don't know 100%. We're still waiting for confirmation.
I'm going to say it wasn't hotter than that.
Okay.
I'm going to say it was like very humid, probably mid-90s, high 90s, but yesterday it was like...
Well, I'm talking about the heat index. It was
the heat index. Then, yeah, it could have been hotter than that with the heat index.
the heat index, what it felt like on the field.
It felt like you were in an oven.
Some of the staff members said they're pretty sure it was above 108, which it was yesterday. But we don't know for sure. If we can get that before the end of the show, we will let you know.
Not everybody can handle that.
No. Now, good news is,
Okay.
as in the past, Howard, when, you have these kinds of temperatures and guys are out there in full pads, full gear. If this was a real practice today, all right, not shells, not shirts and shorts, full gear. Sometimes you'll see guys losing their cookies on the sideline. You'll see guys dehydrated, needing IVs. Got to hydrate. You know what? The Giants got through this practice in pretty darn good shape without having a bunch of guys go down. They did.
How many guys is a bunch?
Well, considering.
It's like reality. Like it was hot.
Yes, it was.
I seen some.
All right.
I saw some cookies being spilled. I saw some
you
guys.
did see.
Oh yeah, I saw guys.
Oh, they must have been hiding behind somebody. I didn't see it.
No, I was standing over by the coaches, and they were like coming out. Like, "Are you okay?" And I'm like, "Let me back up, coach."
I did not see that. Okay.
Talk to that guy there. He
You
looks
should have
good.
tipped me off before we started the show because I didn't see some of that stuff flowing onto the grass.
I don't want this show to go out there and somebody may have pictures of that, and then it comes back to haunt us.
All right. Hey, so anyway, here's what we saw today at practice. Early on, up until the final team drills of 11 on 11, the Giants had a full 11 on 11s, then they had red zone 11 on 11s, and then they did one more session late. First two 11 on 11 sessions, Howard, it was mostly running plays and short passes. They started to open it up a bit in the last 11 on 11 session. Some of your thoughts in terms of what you saw today, because again, they were ultra conservative in the first two team periods.
No, so the way practices are set up, just so you understand, like they're not ultra conservative. They have to go through the running portion.
I know, but I'm trying to let those people understand because they want to just see bombs on every play.
It doesn't work that way.
It doesn't. These are situational drills.
Yeah, so you have to build up, and a lot of the plays, especially the play action passes, are based upon having very successful run plays. So in the first parts of the drills, they're running some of the plays. They're doing some of the RPO actions underneath. And it looked pretty good. I mean, I thought the interior offensive line blocked very well. There wasn't like guys running free into the backfield at the running backs or at the quarterback. So I thought that was impressive. And I thought the guys on the edges, kind of held their own as well. When the passes came up, there wasn't as much pressure as you would hope there would be. But it's not because everybody's expecting to run. So that's great because the play action pass was actually working. As they progressed in the practice, they put them in a situation where they're in the middle of the field. When they're in the middle of the field, they kind of opened it up a little bit because there's like two situations in the middle of the field. Like you just ran it or got it right there from a kickoff, a punt return, or you had a couple successful offensive plays to put you in the middle of the field. So that tends to like lend itself to a couple more longer passes and a couple bombs because you want to have what they call quick change plays. You want to, we got a fumble, we got an interception. Now let's see if we can throw it out and make a quick strike on them to try to rapidly take advantage of the momentum. So that's what you kind of see in the middle of the field. That's why you saw more plays trying to be pushed down the field right there. Some of them worked. I thought Neighbors did a great job. I thought Hyatt did some good stuff out there. And again, I think more than those guys catching passes and the tight ends and the backs and everybody, more than any of that, I was watching. It was 1, 2, 3. Daniel had 3 seconds or more several times to get the ball out, and I enjoyed watching him have a clean pocket, and it's ones against one, so those are good things. Now, is that going to continue next week? That's what we're going to be interested to see once Detroit gets in, but those things are good. When it got down to the red zone, there's a lot of good plays on both sides of the ball. I think the defense stepped up, put a little more pressure, interiorly with the linebackers as well as the interior linemen, D linemen, and then they did a good job. I think on the outside, listen, Banks is a player. He's just a really, really good cover.
He had a terrific practice.
Yeah, I've been here 2 or 3 times, and I'm watching him. I'm like, okay, this kid's the real deal. So I'm really happy for him, and he has great technique. He's not being fooled with some of the moves and stuff, and Neighbors could fool almost anybody. He fooled me one time running a warm-up route. I'm like, I was looking in a different direction. So yeah, it's pretty good out there.
All right, one thing about what Howard was talking about with the run blocking on the interior, talking to Nacho after practice today, he said he could tell the difference already from last summer to this summer, that the interior of the offensive line. And even though some of those guys are known more as pass blockers, Nacho said you could see the difference in their ability to block for the run. He said there were things that I would do to them last year that I can't do anymore because these guys are better.
Yeah, they're better. They different voice in their ear, coaching them, so they're using a little bit different techniques. Sean and I were talking about that during practice, and Chris sneezed, like we were like trying to go, oh, that's interesting. Wow, okay, that's cool. So it's a lot more of, I think this day and age, a lot more angles and not so much we're going to barrel downhill at you the entire time. Like that's what we grew up with. We're going to 3 yards in a cloud of dust. I'm going to push you, you're going to push me, and we're going to see who's going to be able to work it out. Now they're trying to create angles and edges so they can get guys through and cut somebody off. So that's a little bit different way of doing it. So it was pretty interesting to watch, and it was working.
All right, so a few plays, which you may or may not been able to see, but I want to go over a couple of these plays that happened today because they were eye-openers.
So I wasn't jacking my jaw, you mean?
Okay. First set of 11 on 11s, Drew Phillips, the rookie, third-round pick, had a pass deflected away from Neighbors along the left sideline where he closed and made a sweet, sweet play.
He did, but the ball came out a little late. I will say that.
Tad.
But he did a good job recognizing and getting his hand in position to knock it away.
All right, so that was in the first session. In the red zone, we had a touchdown catch from Jones to Allen Robinson, who juked Cordell Flott in the corner, made a really good veteran move.
Yeah, he was that kid's a burner when he gets out in the open space, and you have to get him on the ground really early. If you don't, he could be trouble for people.
Well, Allen Robinson's been doing this a long time now. Yeah. He's in the game over a decade. Yeah. He knows all the tricks.
Absolutely.
So, Cordell Flott showed his inexperience there. He just couldn't stay with the veteran.
I think he more probably, when you're coming into it in a practice, you're trying to get the position really quickly and kind of, you got your hands out. You're not really trying to tackle the guy. If you're going at full speed, I don't think he's going to juke him anyway to get past him. You know what I'm saying? Because at full speed, Flott's going to run through that area really quickly. So at that time, you could see that he was like kind of trying to gauge and get his feet together, and that's what got him. Not taking anything away from the move, but it's a little bit different when they're going full speed at each other on the sidelines over there.
That's why we want to see them against other competition. That's why the Lions practices next Monday and Tuesday are so important. All right, other plays from the red zone as well in the 11 on 11s. We mentioned Banks had a really nice pass deflection down the sideline. Pinnock came up with a leaping interception in center field on a pass that was underthrown to Neighbors. Now, you could have easily blown the whistle dead because Burns had gotten in for what would have been a sack.
Yes.
But the Giants coaching staff allowed the play to continue. And so it was a throw it up, jump ball, and Pinnock made the jump for the pick.
Pinnock did a good job putting himself in position. Pinnock does have a nose for the ball. When it's in this area, he's going to intercept it almost every time. Going back to Burns, did a great job on the edge, coming up the field, putting pressure on the quarterback. And, again, some of these RPOs where you're running or reading the pass rusher, like Burns and Thibodeau are not guys you want to read. You kind of let them go free.
No, not a good idea.
No, it's not smart.
All right, last series of 11 on 11s, and this was the best that the offense looked. Daniel Jones on his drive hit Neighbors diving down the left sideline with a sweet catch. Then he hit Neighbors with a short pass who gave the catch and then a juke on Dane Belton and lost him, basically broke his ankles and went into the end zone for a touchdown.
That one was different. Belton
was incredible.
Didn't have a chance on that.
No chance.
I felt bad for him.
Zero.
Yeah.
Zero. Malik Neighbors just put a move on him that was like, wow. Okay, and then at the end of that drive, because Daniel Jones, they continued to let him take a few more snaps, he then hit Jalen Hyatt.
Yes.
With a terrific throw inside the back line for a touchdown.
Yep, that was a good job. A good job of Hyatt realizing and utilizing the entire field to get himself a chance to get open, and good job of Daniel, sifting through, because it wasn't his first read, sifting through the receivers and finding somebody open with a little time in the backfield.
Yeah,
so
that was if you were looking for like really, really sweet stuff, that whole series for Daniel Jones was marvelous.
Yep, and it wasn't like he was under duress the entire time either. He was like able to
they
a little
protected
shuffle and get rid of it. He didn't have to shuffle a whole lot, so it worked out great.
That's the way it's designed. That's what you want to see out of him. Now, then Drew Lock had his reps. There was nothing spectacular there, but then on the next set of reps, they gave Tommy DeVito an opportunity, and on a right rollout, he was able to hit Hodgins on the right side of the end zone for a touchdown. Yes,
he did a good job. That's a play they used a lot last year. It's still very effective, and the defenders have to get themselves over to try to get the hand between them and the quarterback. If they don't, it's almost always going to be a catch for a touchdown.
Good throw on the run by DeVito, by the way.
Absolutely. He did a great job.
Yeah. So those were some of the highlighted plays of the day at practice. Folks, if you were there and want to give us a call and talk about it, we'll be glad to. If you weren't there, that's just as well. We'll still be glad to talk to you at 201-939-4513. That's our number here on Big Blue Kickoff Live. All right, let's go to the phones. And as we call up line number one, we go to Jason in New Haven. You're first on the program. Hello.
Hello, fellas.
Hi.
Hey, how we doing?
Good. Long time no hear. Glad you guys took my call. I was just calling wanted to pick you two gentlemen's brains about, some players, with training camp. Of course, I'm not there, but first things first, I thought Hard Knocks was fantastic. Just seen some of them now. I'm sure they didn't put some things in, of course, for competitive advantages or just to not give all their details away, but I thought the process going through the Barkley thing was excellent. Hearing Shane talk to John Mara about it, some of his scouts about it. I've already stated my opinion on Barkley, how I felt that he wasn't, no knock to him personally, but I felt he wasn't the right pick. That was just my opinion, but we move on. He's in Philadelphia. I wish him all the best, except for when he plays us. I hope he gets no yardage. Dex puts a good lick on him. So other than that, I thought the show was great, so I'm glad they was able to give the fans a little sneak peek on kind of what goes behind the some of the small details that goes behind some of the decision-making. And it just shows to me that Shane and Dayball are the guys to lead us. Now, will it happen? Of course, a lot of things got to break our way. Injuries. We've been snake-bitten by injuries, as you two gentlemen know. For the last few years, it just seems like we just haven't gotten a break. And it seems now, even still, hearing the Neal situation with the foot, hearing JMS, which is concerning, but I won't overreact because it's still early. But we all know that offensive line is all about not so much having 5 all-pro players, but having players that gel well, communicate well, and play within unison. So hopefully JMS is back soon. Like I said, maybe you guys maybe know a little bit more than I do, but I'm under the impression Neil is not in the picture right now, and that's fine. He's taking a beating from being hurt, which isn't his fault. He hasn't played well either, so a lot of it's on him. But I just feel like he's been kind of hammered by Giants fans and the media, and hopefully this takes him some time to kind of sit back and hone in on some of the skills and hopefully get 100%. But the real reason I called was just a few players, and either you can answer, I'll keep it short, the list, or you could answer when I go off the line. I've been hearing about this young man, Deontay Johnson.
Yeah, linebacker.
For some reason, I'm hearing a lot of positive things about him. I don't know if you guys want to discuss him real quick and then I'll move on, or if you want to just have me name some guys and you just answer after. It's up to you guys.
Well, you want to just tell us and then we'll talk about it? Go ahead. I'll write the guys down. Go ahead.
Yeah, Deontay Johnson, the UDFA from last year.
Yep.
I've heard he's been moving pretty good. Even apparently Bobby Okereke has talked pretty good about him, and and how he reminds him of himself in terms of physically. Another player that I wanted to hear your guys' opinion on is Pinnock. Pinnock and Belton actually. I'm a big fan of Belton. I've been saying it. He's always around the ball, and when you can have secondary players around the ball, those guys you try for whatever reason. Wink didn't use him. Now I know he had struggles tackling this year. That was evident.
Well, the problem was Xavier McKinney didn't come off the field. That was the problem.
That's true. That's true. That's
100% of the plays. You don't give
and
anybody.
Pinnock only missed a handful of plays. Both of those guys were very, very durable last year.
Yep.
So go ahead. Who else you got?
And then who else? Offensively, I mean, I've heard about Neighbors. From what I'm hearing, he looks phenomenal. Now, of course, he hasn't played against another team yet, so I'll temper expectations. But I mean, from some of the clips I've seen on Giants.com and maybe through social media, I mean, he just looks like he's moving different from our other receivers.
He's unique. He's special.
Yeah, he looks really good. And one thing I've noticed playing football in college and watching football since I was little, receivers really can change your offense. And what I mean by that is, look at all the great receivers even we've had. And my favorite receiver in Giants history, well, since I've been playing, has been Plaxico. I know people say Odell, but my personal favorite was Plax. I mean, I think he's the reason why Eli kind of transcended into being a really, I won't say great quarterback, but he's a Hall of Famer to me. But anyway, Plax was my guy, and he will always be my number one Giants receiver. So him, Odell, even Amani Toomer had some great moments, and I think Neighbors is going to take that next realm. So those three, and then my last point will be, I'm very bullish on our defense. What our offense will be, I'm not sure yet. It seems like there's a lot of emphasis on throwing deep. Now, I'm sure, of course, they're going to take what the defense gives them, which you should as a quarterback. That's your job. But it seems like Daboll's really trying to push the ball down the field. So we'll see how our offense looks. But I think people are sleeping on our defense. I mean, on all three levels, we have some uncertainty with the corners. I believe in Deonte Banks. I saw some good tape from him last year, especially that Green Bay game. And our D-line, I think we have really Dex, of course, is an all-pro. That's not to be said about him. But Tibbs, I'm a big believer in Tibbs. For some reason, a lot of fans still are down on him, and I don't understand why. He had double-digit sacks last year, and, of course, Burns is Burns, which was a big pickup. And then Okereke, you got Simmons. I mean, you have a lot of pieces on defense, and I think we're going to surprise people on defense. So I'm bullish on the guys. I think maybe you guys will be too. But I wanted to hear about those Johnson, the safeties, and Neighbors and how the receivers look. And I appreciate you guys.
All right. Appreciate your phone call. There's a lot to unpack. 201-939-4513. It's a good caller. He had a lot of things he wanted to get in, so I gave him a little extra time. Howard, we'll go through these players one at a time.
Okay.
I'll let you go first, and then I'll add something that maybe I might be able to affix to your comments. Deontay Johnson, inside linebacker, last year an undrafted rookie free agent out of Toledo. He's back again on the depth chart.
Well, he's back in on the depth chart, and he's doing good. He's kind of backing up. I think he's like second or third, probably second behind Okereke.
Second team.
He has good movement, great ball skills, meaning he can knock the ball down when it comes in this area. He fits into the front defensive line very well when he's in there. He has a good group of guys in front of him, which makes his life a lot easier. He's also the guy who would, in theory, be wearing the green dot. They'd be calling the plays for defense, so he understands the defense enough to, quote-unquote, be able to call it and get guys in the right place, and that's pretty impressive since it's a new defense coordinator.
Coaching staff has talked about how well he has done, not only on defense, but they also wanted to emphasize a guy in his position also needs to be doing things on special teams. And they're anxious to see what he can do on specials when they start playing against other guys.
And it's going to be interesting in specials because some of the specials will change, especially kickoff return. So that's where he's going to, if he can really figure that out and be one of the guys as a leader out there in that, those two sequences, it's going to be pretty good.
He's been very noticeable at camp. He's done a nice job.
He's a flasher. He flashes a lot.
Pinnock, we already kind of talked about his pick today. I know Howard likes him a lot.
Yeah, I think Pinnock's going to be a great player. I think he's been doing a good job. Has a real nice nose for the ball. He always gets himself in the right place. He doesn't get beat over the top a lot, so that's always good for his safety, and he's got good range.
All right, nothing to add there. Obviously, very durable, very smart, and has been a very steadying influence back there for some of the younger players.
Absolutely.
All right, Dane Belton. Now, I'll go first on this one, Howard, because I've been saying all along, Tyler Newbin, the rookie out of Minnesota, second-round pick, they just love him, and you understand why when you meet the guy and when you also see him on the practice field. He was a little bit sore, a little bit tweaked in his leg, so he missed a few practices. And the question that everybody has is, how soon is he going to challenge for a starting job? Well, we can put that to rest because Shane Bowen, the defensive coordinator, told us yesterday the job is Dane Belton's to lose. He flat out told us that. Because you know what? Dane Belton's had a good camp too. And in his limited time, the first 2 years in the league, he always seems to be around the ball, Howard.
He's always around the ball. I think the thing that kind of got him, or his hamstring part, is a couple times tackling. You got to be able to tackle when you're out there on that edge. You're the last line of defense sometimes. You got to be able to get a guy down or at least hold him up for everybody else to get to him. Like being able to intercept the ball is great. But what are you going to do when they have the ball and they're in your zone? So that's where he's going to need it. That's where he's going to need to get his best work in, and whatever he has to do to get his feet together and his hands and right foot, right shoulder kind of moment, he's going to have to get that done.
I think the missed tackles with Belton were most noticeable after he came back from the collarbone injury.
I'm hoping that's the case.
And the question is, how much did that have to do with it? Because you're right, Howard. You did notice that in his game.
Yep.
And, right now he's healthy. And he's having a good camp.
Okay.
So we'll see. 201-939-4513. I know I got to get to those promos, but let's go to Big Ed in Maryland first. You're next on BBKL. Hello.
Hey, Ed.
Hey, what's up, Big Paulie?
How you doing?
What's up, Big Howard in there?
Hey, how we doing, man?
What's up, big guy? How you doing, man?
I can't
Heard you
complain.
was a world champion. Look, I heard you was a world champion somewhere.
That's funny. That's funny. What's going on, man?
Oh, my gosh. Hey, I hope to make it up to camp, man. I'm doing this with the Lions activity.
Okay.
That would be kind of nice because, from my understanding, that's our first preseason game. So
A week from yesterday, correct.
Huh?
A week from yesterday, they play the Lions in the preseason opener here at MetLife.
Yeah, that's the first one.
Yep.
Should be good. Should be really good, actually. Should be televised, for real.
Yeah,
That's going to be special.
it's going to be a good game, but they're going to practice against each other the whole week, too. So that's
Monday
gonna
and
be better.
Tuesday.
Yeah.
Right. And that's the thing. I wanted to come up on Tuesday.
Okay.
But more importantly, I want to make sure, Paulie, you can speak on this part for it. I want them to compete well, but I don't want them beaten. Let the Lions feel like they got an edge on us So when we really play them later, when it really counts, we'll definitely beat them with no problem because they're going to think they have one up on us. They're not getting our very, 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 our ones. They're not getting our ones. They only get.
Okay. But hold on, Big Ed. Hold on, Big Ed. We don't play. The Giants don't play the Lions during the regular season.
He thinks we're playing him in the postseason.
Oh.
You got to read the tea leaves. You got to read the tea leaves.
You're looking ahead, Big Ed. You're going about 5 exits further down the turnpike.
Yeah. And look, Paulie, I did some research on something about me that you have to do for me.
Yeah.
Okay, this is a little old, but it's still good. This is actually going to bring tears to you because of how inspirational this is and was. And it did happen, Howard.
Okay.
Check this out. So, 12-3-12. The Giants play the Redskins at FedEx. It's RG3's first game.
Okay.
Right? Their national anthem. There was a guy way up in the top bleachers. He had a blue Giants blanket, waving it during the national anthem so strongly and so deeply, even Eli saw it from the sideline. I know you saw it, Paulie, because you was there.
Okay.
Paulie.
Okay.
That guy was me.
Okay.
That guy was me, bruh.
I believe you.
So deep. Yeah, you really believe me when you see it.
I believe you. I have no reason to doubt you, Big Ed.
Look at that in a few
Yeah,
minutes.
man. It goes so deeply strong, man. I bleed that blue and red every day. I'll walk around with it even when I'm feeling the worst and the lowest. I just want to say that for the fellas who think, man, I had a tough day out there. Neighbors was really getting me, drilling me. Daniel Jones keep catching me off guard. And, man, defense stand strong. We're going to be it. We're going to be great. As long as the secondary do not play 5 yards off the ball, off the line of scrimmage, we'll be fine. We've got to play bump and run. But, yeah,
should be a good year.
I think we are in for a great season as long as key people stay healthy. Because what you've been talking about is that depth chart with this with the linebacker you just mentioned. I forgot his name.
Johnson.
I'm sorry. Mm-hmm. Johnson. Yeah, Deontay. Yeah, he's going to be good. That's a great backup because we're going to need our backups to be great. That's what makes us win those championships. I'm still looking deep, Paulie. That's what helped us win those championships. We had great backup. So it's great. It's not that John Michael Smith ain't good. It's who's behind him. It has to be good.
Okay.
We got to build our inner team. That's our key. And I don't know if I took enough time.
You
I did. So be it. I love y'all, man. Hope to see y'all soon.
You got it, Big Ed. Make sure you say hello. Have a good day.
Definitely will, man.
Have a good one,
Okay, bye-bye. He brings a lot of energy, doesn't he?
Man, he's loving it right now.
Big Ed is fueled by that solar power.
No, I hope not, because he'll be explosive today. It's hot out there. I like the guys that have like quote unquote that they're looking. That's what fans do. They're like looking at.
You pick that up right away, right?
When we play Detroit again, I'm like, he's talking about the playoffs.
You pick that up immediately,
absolutely.
Howard.
I know the schedule. I know. I'm like
Paul's face when he realized was so funny.
I was so puzzled when he said that. I'm like,
it was like,
wait a minute.
He's talking about the playoffs.
Where's Detroit on the schedule?
He brought the schedule up to look at it. He's like,
I even looked at. I'm like, did I miss something? No, Detroit's not on the schedule. No,
we have not lost or won a game yet. So right now, all eyes and hearts are optimistic.
Nothing wrong with that. We go quickly to line 3. We have Mike in Utica. You're next on Big Blue Kickoff Live. Hello.
What's up, Mike?
Guys, how are you? I love the show.
Thank you.
45 years old, been a Giants fan all my life. I kind of grew up with those great South teams in the 80s, and of course, one of my first memories was the Super Bowl, against the Bills in '90. And
nice.
I think we would all. And by the way, Howard, playing high school football in the mid '90s, I chose number 80. I was a tight end, and I chose number 87 because I was a Howard Cross fan, a Giants fan.
I appreciate
that. That's beside the point. I think we'd all agree right now the Giants are in a pretty pretty rough stretch over these last 10, 12 years. You know, just kind of a tough time for the franchise. Only 2 playoff seasons, but it's and this leads me to my question. You know, it could be worse. If you guys remember 2 years ago when we made the playoffs, that year we won a lot of close games, and a lot of it was attributable to the really, really stellar clutch kicking of Graham Gano. And, you know, it seemed like last year he had the injury, and, you know, we really didn't get the results. He missed some kicks, and last year was a bit of a disappointment to me. I'm just wondering, I haven't heard many reports on him from camp or anything like that. Is he fully healthy? How's he looking? What's it looking like with Graham Gano?
Well, I watched him today. He kicked the ball a lot. He did a great job. 40 yards in. He did pretty good 50 yards in. Then I think they tried one. There was like a 62-yarder.
One was a 60-yarder, and it was just off to the left. And it might have been
no, it was in the middle. It was in the middle. It nicked the crossbar, but he just didn't give it enough.
Was that the same kick I saw? Maybe
Well,
not.
you were standing on the side. I was standing behind him.
Oh, okay.
Yeah,
okay.
so I'm standing behind him. So I thought to myself, I'm like, somebody goes like, oh, he should have been able to hit that. And I said, yeah, but if you just got your, you know, whatever it was, your knee fixed, you give it a good little run, but you don't give it everything you got because you want to make sure that knee stays intact for the rest of the season. He looks good. He definitely looks good.
You know, he's not kicking everything because they did bring in the Rutgers rookie, McTamney.
Yep.
I believe is how he pronounces it. He's a international player, so he doesn't even count on the roster. He's an exempt player, and you know, he gets to do some of it to alleviate some of the stress.
Which is good because, like I said, you just repaired your knee, and the one,
Sure.
and out of all things that you're doing, and I tell people this all the time, like that's the one ligament and the one part of his body he's using constantly. That's his job, is to use that part. So no, you can't go full tilt kicking it. Like I've seen the jugs machine out there a couple times for either kicks or punts. So I understand it.
I have no reason to believe that he's not on schedule. Let me put it to you that way.
Yeah.
Excellent. You know, if he hadn't made some of those kicks 2 years ago, we as Giants fans would be looking at a much longer stretch without making the playoffs. You know.
Yep, that's true. I think he's ready. I think he's ready to take back that spot when needed and called upon. I think he'll be ready for it.
Thank you.
Excellent. Thank you, guys.
201-939-4513, couple of promotional announcements. The Giants Foundation will host a 5K Racing Kids Run presented by Quest on Saturday, September 7th at 9 o'clock a.m. at MetLife Stadium. Net proceeds will benefit the Giants Foundation. All participants will receive a commemorative T-shirt after the race. Stay for a post-race festival with appearances by Giants legends and a live DJ. Register now at giants.com/5K. Oh, you want to spin some tunes?
No, I'm just DJ.
Okay. The Giants Huddle podcast has all kinds of Giants and NFL personnel on it, long-form interviews. To look for the Giants Huddle and subscribe, go to your favorite podcast platform or giants.com/podcasts. Giants season ticket memberships for the 2024 season are available. Stay connected to the team all year round. To learn more about exclusive member benefits, visit giants.com/tickets. Limited inventory is available, and Giants TV is the official connected TV streaming app. Brings all kinds of video content, all kinds of stuff from practice if you don't get a chance to come out. It's free. It's on Apple TV, Roku, Amazon Fire TV, and the Giants mobile app. That'll do it for our promos. Howard, we will go back to the phones as soon as they start lighting up, and there they go. Starting to blink already. 201-939-4513. The players are going to have tomorrow off, Howard, then shells on Sunday, and then the big 2 days of practice in full gear with the Detroit Lions on Monday and Tuesday. Important that they get tomorrow to kind of re-energize just a tad. Well, I know. I'm looking at an old school guy who doesn't understand the new schedules of today. And Howard, I'm with you.
Load management.
I'm with you. Load management. Those are dirty words to us old-time folks.
Load management.
But that's just the way it is. And given the way the schedule sets up, I understand why it is that way.
I mean, but it's not just us. It's everybody. That's how they have to do it. The Giants are doing it. The Jets are doing it. Every team,
it's the league rules.
The league rules, like you can't even run a full 9-on-7 drill anymore without having a couple passes, and you have to break it up so that it's not full 9-on-7 because the league said that they didn't want to have 9-on-7 practice anymore. So it's like, it's interesting, but it's going to work out. It's going to get better. It's going to be interesting, when the schedule expands just one more game. So I have no idea how they're going to do that. But for now,
probably a second bye week during the regular season.
It's going to be rough.
That's what the USFL did. 18 games with 2 weeks of bye. I'm telling you. I covered the Generals for 3 years, so that's probably the way it's going to go. By the way, folks, do check with the internet and with the Giants website and social media sites on Sunday. There is a scheduled practice in Shells, but there's a very strong forecast for rain. If it does rain, they have to move practice inside to the field house for safety purposes. They don't have bleachers in there. They don't have enough room in there.
No.
They can't let you see. So if the weather forecast is really, really bad on Sunday morning when you get up, again, check the Giants' social media platforms. They'll let you know if things are going to be moved inside, and then it just doesn't pay for you guys to come out here because they're not going to be able to let you watch. So I just kind of apprise you of that for those of you who have tickets for Sunday's workout. Back to the phone lines. Phil is in North Carolina. You're next on the show. Hello. Hi, Phil.
Hey, guys. Hey, good. Hey, question. Getting to this concept that, Paul, you always talk about, the quicksand of mediocrity, and I do agree with you on that point. The call has said we've had a rough, we're basically 2-12 the last 12 years, right? 2 winning seasons out of 12. So we've been hitting below the mediocrity. We've been hitting way below the mediocrity. We would be at 5 or 6 or 7 wins if we were a mediocre team, which means we're not doing good enough in terms of drafting, right? It comes down to drafting. So my question, especially for Howard, is, and I'll take it off the air, is, how can we seem to not do well drafting offensive linemen. We have historically a bad track record on that. Now, we do a few position groups well, like defensive tackle. We seem to do well with that. But offensive tackles, offensive lines, we're just doing horrible with drafting over the last, 12 years or even more. So how can we get out of that mold or break? How can we break that, Howard and Paul? How can do we get better? Do we look differently at how we're analyzing these guys? Do we hire do we hire Sean O'Hara and David Deal to go out there and look at these guys? How do we get past this where we're failing on these offensive linemen? And I'll take it off the air. And thanks a lot, guys. Appreciate your
Phil, we appreciate the phone call. Call us again before Howard answers. Chris Snee has been hired as one of the Giants' senior scouts this season, and we see Chris at practice every day, and he is taking this job with 150% gusto. He is all in, and I'm real happy to see him, and hopefully he can help make a difference.
Yes. How do they change it? First off, I think you have to realize that also during all this craziness, you do have an all-pro tackle out of this, and Thomas that's out there, and you have JMS who is the starting center, even though he's a little banged up right now, who's playing well. And then the other high draft picks in the offensive line were Neal, of course, and
Azudu has been hurt.
Azudu's been hurt, but he's
a third-round choice.
But he's played all over the offensive line, and he's played well when he's able to play.
And then they filled in with a lot of free agents because, again, another guy who they drafted out of North Carolina, Marcus McKeithen, also has been hurt during his young career.
And then we go from the guy who jumped off the couch. He was a draft pick as well. Who came off the couch?
Justin Pugh.
Justin Pugh came off the couch. Yes. He played pretty well for the Giants. And it's a few guys that have played well for the Giants. So the idea that they've been drafting so poorly the entire time, a lot of guys don't work out. But it's the bigger name guys that you get upset about, like your guys like Neal, who everybody's pulling for, trying to hope he gets there. But at the same time, he's just not on the field practicing right now. So, I don't want them to get Wally pipped, as they say, but you got to be careful. I think that the way they change it, and it's just a hard thing to do, but the way you change it is that you got to maybe change the evaluation process just slightly. I think that today's players, and you have to understand that this is not just the Giants, this is everyone. You can't find 300-pound dancing bears like you used to. They're almost extinct. When there are so many 7-on-7 passing drills and camps and stuff for kids, there are not a lot of offensive line and passing camps and drills for kids. So it kind of pushes you further and further away from the moment. The offensive lineman per se isn't the most glamorous position. They do get paid well, especially if you're a left tackle, but it's not the most glamorous position, and it's harder to bring kids into the fold if they don't, understand it, don't know it, and don't do anything with it. Like flag football is a really huge success when youth and young people. I guess it's called flag youth football with boys, girls, and everything. There are no linemen in flag football.
No.
So the only time you get linemen is when you start playing Pop Warner or YMCA or community ball. That's the only time. And football, unlike the other sports, especially for kids, it's not a year-round sport either. Maybe for the 7-on-7 kids, but for the football players, the guys with their hands in the dirt, it's not an all-around sport. So the evaluation process is going to have to be a little more stringent and based upon guys who are playing in big-time games over and over and playing against, big-time competition. Or if you get that one guy that what I call the unicorn is a guy that is from a small school that's never been to the playoffs, who's never had a bowl game, but he looks really, really good. And you have to, that's a flyer. You take a flyer on guys like that.
I'm just going to quickly go through these names because I think it's important to note that a lot of these guys got derailed because of injury. Now, we'll go through it real quick and go through it with me, Howard. Obviously, we know that of recent vintage, John Michael Schmitz, okay.
A little banged up.
But I think the future is still bright for him.
Yeah.
Evan Neal, terribly banged up. Azudu has suffered injury. McFadden has suffered injuries. All right, I mean Marcus McKeithen, okay? If we keep going down, okay, back in 2020, Thomas worked out great.
Yep.
Matthew Parrott had injuries.
Thomas worked out great, but you have to remember, he spent a year limping.
He's battled injury too, but he worked out. Matthew Parrott was injured quite a bit during he was here. We go back as far as 2019. Asafo Ajayi he was the 7th round pick. I don't even want to go to a 7th round pick. We continue to look. I mean, Will Hernandez. Okay, he was relatively healthy here and just didn't work out very well.
No, that was back in the
2018
Gettleman pickups, but he just never really got his feet under him.
Shane Lemieux was badly banged up, constantly hurt the whole time. Yep. I mean, and now I'm going all the way back now to Bisnawadi, who was a 6th round pick as a tackle back in 2017.
Yep.
6th round pick.
Okay.
I mean, so most of the Giants' offensive linemen that they've drafted in the last 8 years have been hurt.
Yeah, that's a good way to look at it.
I mean, that's just a fact. Most of them have got hurt when they got to the pros. So, and Lord only knows, this guy next to me follows Alabama football with a fine-tooth comb. Evan Neal was durable, was reliable, was a force, and played 3 different positions.
Was a can't-miss player. But
who didn't get hurt when he was with the Tide.
And, getting hurt is probably the thing that kind of derailed his whole mental state for right now. They got to get him back mentally, I think probably more, but more than anything else. If you're hurt, you've been injured, and you're not injured before, and you have surgery, it's what they say, until you take that first hit, you don't know if you're well or not.
And the thing about Flowers, which I thought was very interesting too, when you talk about him, he was banged up, and then he just didn't have the want to. I mean, the Giants asked him if he wanted to try to play guard. He said no.
And he left the Giants.
And after he got cut, because they were like, well, this attitude's not going to work here. We need a team player. And then he decided, when he thought his football career was basically dangling by a piece of dental floss, he agreed to play guard for Washington. because he had nowhere else to go.
Well, how many years did he do that? 2, 3?
He was there a year or two and then went to Miami.
Yeah. I mean, like, hey, look,
You know.
the league's hard enough. If you can find a spot to hang on for all you got. That's all I say.
All right, Len from Maryland is on line 1 on Big Blue Kickoff Live. Hello.
Hey guys, how you doing?
Hi, Len.
Hey, Len, what's going on?
Hey, first of all, if I may, Howard, congratulations in getting in that top 100 Giants of all time. Holy cow!
Yes, Howard Cross, everybody. Top 100.
Thank you.
Yeah, top 100 is right. What an honor, Howard.
That's pretty cool.
What an honor.
That's really cool.
Yeah. Oh, I bet it is. Must be a wonderful feeling. Geez, just throwing some numbers around. I saw something like 5,100 people who've put the uniform on during the regular season, and
That's a lot.
You're talking about 100. I mean, you're talking about 1%, maybe less, Howard.
Yeah.
Holy cow!
That's pretty bad.
Still
Well-
the best blocking tight end I've ever seen. And I mean that.
appreciate
He
Okay.
knows it. I've said it to him before. I believe
Yeah.
that.
Let me capitalize on what Paul just said, and just add, Howard, well-deserved honor.
Thank you so much.
Well-deserved honor.
I really
All right.
appreciate it.
Hey, I'm going to go out on a limb, Paulie, if you'll allow me at this point. I'm going to rapid fire you who I think the top 10 are going to be. Are you okay with that?
Absolutely.
We can't, I'm not going to comment on it, but you can shoot the
Okay.
10. Go ahead.
Okay. Number 1, LT. Number 2, Mel Hein. Number 3, Emlyn Tunnell. Number 4, Rosie Brown. Number 5, Eli Manning. Number 6, Frank Gifford. Number 7, Michael Strahan. Number 8, Andy Robustelli. Number 9, Sam Huff. Number 10, Harry Carson. That's my top 10. Let's see how it turns out.
Okay.
I mean, it's
Interesting that you're in your list, Len, and I know you are a Giants aficionado for quite a long time. Mel Hein is the only pre-1950s guys. I know Tunnell did also come in a little earlier than 1950, but he basically spanned into the mid-50s. Hein is really the only old timer that you threw on your list.
Yes.
And this
now
is the
I'm
top
basing
100 players, right? Is it top?
Yeah, well,
Right.
this will be the top 10 of the when the list gets down to that level.
Yep.
I think that's my prediction as who it's going to be. I didn't see Hein, Paul.
Nor did I. I
but
hate
I'm
to
basing it-
surprise all of you, but I did not see Mel Hein play. Okay.
I feel like, I feel like you
Hein
did,
either.
Paul.
But based upon what I read, comments from people, and also I remember my dad, who's just a great Giants fan, one day telling me, LT's the best player I ever saw, but Mel Hein's not far behind. So I'm going to trust my dad on that. That's why I put him at number 2.
And I understand Mel. I understand Len, because you have to take into account the legend that you hear about, plus the fact that he played both ways all the time. He was an Iron Man.
Yeah.
And so, when people ask me, I remember NFL Network did a 1-hour special on the all-time Giants top 10, and I was a part of that panel who was on that show and commented on all of the selections. And quite frankly, I could only tell them stories that I heard about Mel Hein because I never saw him. And it's very difficult to quantify a guy who you never saw. But everybody in their right mind said to me, he's got to be in the top 5.
Yep.
So I was like, okay, he's in the top 5. I got to believe you.
Well, if you walk in the MetLife gate at the stadium and you look around up on the walls, there's the murals, there's Taylor, there's Tunnell, and there's Hein.
I understand.
And I think it's probably going to fall out that way. And then the second 10 will really be interesting. Geez, we've had a lot of terrific players. We'll probably wind up with 7 or 8 quarterbacks on that list. And a lot of people think you look at the Giants' history and you say, oh man, they haven't had many good quarterbacks, but they really have.
Yeah.
Yeah, they've had some pretty good ones. People have won all of the people on their list have been part of the championships, and I think that's probably the first thing that gets you on the list. And
it helps.
You get to the and when you get to the final 20, it's probably going to be all about whether you've got that Hall of Fame designation. It's probably going to carry a lot of weight. But I think that committee's doing how do you separate some of these folks? But I think they're doing a great job. You couldn't argue against any of the people who they've picked so far.
Not at all.
I mean, if you wanted to substitute somebody in, who the heck would you take out? You're taking out another. If you want to slip somebody in, you're taking out another guy who is a star and a worthy player.
Len,
Yeah.
I'm so glad. That to me would have been a huge headache. Now, as much as I would have had fun maybe doing it, I was disqualified because I actually work with the team.
Yeah.
No one who works with the team was allowed to vote. They wanted the entire selection process to be independent without any ties to the organization. So when I found out about it, and I was basically told, we think you'd be great to do it. We want you to do it. Heck, NFL Network had me on the special. It was a big deal. But I was disqualified because I have ties to the team.
Yeah.
I can honestly tell you, in retrospect, that actually might have been good because I'd have been up every night for probably an entire month with no sleep at all, trying to rank the top 100.
Stressed out.
Yeah.
All the
It
way.
would have blown my mind trying to do that.
That's crazy.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
I appreciate the effort that you put into your list.
Yeah. Well, I think it's been, as part of this 100th anniversary thing, I just really got into this one, Paul. I can't wait for Tuesdays and see the next 10.
Okay.
I mean,
That
it's
should be fun.
because I've seen, I go back a long way, Howard. I saw my first game in 1952.
That's pretty good.
And I've been hooked ever since. So
You coming to camp?
I texted John. I'll be there on Tuesday, Paul. I hope we meet up.
Okay,
all right.
for sure.
Yeah. And Howard, I'm sorry I missed your autograph session. It was last Tuesday.
Yeah.
It would have been nice to. It would have been nice to see you and Jeff together. That would have been wonderful.
I appreciate that. Thank you so much.
Yeah, I bet you had a man. It must have been hot out there today. How'd the players hold it? Did they go the whole 2 hours, Paulie?
No, they went 2 hours and 15 or 20 minutes.
They did the full. They did the full.
Wow.
They did the full.
Wow.
Yeah.
Yeah.
They brought back
and
the-
we came through it. Did we come through it okay, Paul? God forbid.
For the most
I don't
part.
wanna-
For the most part.
Yeah, just a little, some heat exhaustion from some guys, but that's to be expected with 2 hour plus practice in the heat.
Wow. Well, the time is moving along here. We're getting close.
Indeed
Let's
we
go
are, Len.
Giants. Let's go Giants. Hey,
Let's
good
go.
to talk to you guys. Paulie, I'll see you next week, I hope.
You got it, Len.
Have a great one.
201-939-4513. We'll get one more quick call in if somebody wants to dial in. Our lines are open. We'll squeeze in one more if you'd like to. Howard, I'm curious, since we're not going to get a chance to have you on the program before Detroit comes here on Monday, what will you be most interested in when you see the dual practices? You and I were both out in Detroit last year when the Giants went out there, and the Lions had a really good first day. The Giants kind of evened the score somewhat on day two. But what are you most curious about? Will it be the line play?
It's going to be a little bit of everything. First off, it's going to be the intensity because Campbell, love him. That's my guy.
Absolutely.
Has bred this idea that we are going to be tougher than anyone.
I believe he said you bite the kneecaps off the other guy.
I'm not biting
what he
nobody's
wants his guys
kneecaps.
to do.
That's disgusting. That's insanitary. But what I believe is that he's convinced his guys. Hey, look, this is why we go hard. This is the success we have is why we go hard. So now they had some success, right? Mm-hmm. So they're going to come in here this year, next week actually, and they're going to go hard again, and probably a little harder. It's going to be interesting to see if our guys are able to, adjust to the speed of the greens, as we would say in golf. If these greens are fast, you got to learn to putt a little slower. If these greens are really slow, you got to learn to hit it a little harder. And it's going to be interesting to see if our guys are going to be able to adjust to the speed of what's about to happen when these guys come in and the intensity. Mm-hmm. And that's going to be, as much as know the plays, make the plays work and everything else, it's like, okay, I have to step it up another gear because somebody's coming in here with the foot, they don't have any brakes in their car. They're just going downhill at full speed. Mm-hmm. So that's going to be what I'm going to be interested in mostly.
I think some of the specific one-on-one matchups that people are talking about already is, well, let's see, which side is Hutchinson going to line up on? Will he go against Thomas? Will he go against Illuminor? Yep. How's that going to look? People are interested to see how Banks and Amon St. Brown are going to go at it because Banks will probably be on his side for at least a number of reps. That's one I think that's really exciting an awful lot of people. And then whether it's Sewell or Decker, at the tackle spot, left and right tackles for the Lions, because Sewell's on the right side, well, you got Burns and Thibodeau.
Yeah.
I mean, these are going to be some really fun battles.
Yeah, and you get in Detroit also has Gibbs and Williams.
Yeah.
So, not to be roll tide in you, but those guys got some burners on. So if they're out there, if they have 3 wides and one of them is Gibbs, that's going to be a tough combination.
So that's coming up on Monday and Tuesday. Again, folks, practice is 10 o'clock each of those days, as it has been so far throughout training camp for those dual practice sessions. The good news is, of course, Big Blue Kickoff Live is on at 1 p.m. The reason we made the change for these first few weeks of camp is that we can give you reports from practice. We can tell you what happened during the media sessions. And in this case, if you can't make it out, if you were one of those folks who couldn't get those tickets for those 2 days, just come here to Big Blue Kickoff Live, and we'll give you the whole scoop on what went down. I know, are you on one of those shows next week, Howard? Or are you on later in the week?
Pierce,
I don't even know.
No one knows. I don't know.
But you're going to come here, right? You're going to be here.
I'll be here.
I'll be here.
Big Blue Kickoff Live gives you a chance also at 1 o'clock for me to change my shirt because I was soaked today. So,
Pearson, I had to hear at the lunch table today. Howard and I were sitting at the lunch table. I'm eating my salad, and I have to hear from Howard how he had to change his practice shirt, which literally dropped onto the floor because it was so soaked.
I'm like, that's great.
While I'm having my salad.
Nice.
Didn't seem to bother him any.
No, the salad was really good. And nothing was going to bother my salad.
Oh, my goodness.
Howard, good to see you again, and I'm glad that you didn't melt today.
No, I didn't melt. Not all of me.
For Pearson and for Howard Cross, I'm Paul Dottino. Thank you so much for joining us today on Big Blue Kickoff Live, presented by Cadillac, the official luxury vehicle of the New York Giants. Catch an archive of this show as part of the Giants podcast platforms everywhere and giants.com/podcasts. We'll be back with another program on Monday, live at 1 p.m. Eastern Time, as the Giants and Lions get into a dual scrimmage. We'll see you then, everybody.